If I didn't tell you that today's guest was 17 years old and still in high school, you would never imagine it. He started his business at the age of 12 and has grown it every year since then. You'll love hearing the inspiring story of this young entrepreneur.
Are you looking for new ways to make your sales grow? You've tried other podcasts, but they don't seem to know. Harvest the growth potential of your product or service as we share stories and strategies that'll make your competitors nervous. Now, here's the host of the Harvest Growth Podcast, John LeClaire.
Welcome back to the show. I'm really excited to be speaking with a really exciting guest today, Holden Bierman. Now, he is the founder. He's a young founder, and he's got an amazing story that he's been able to accomplish a lot at his age, but also in a very short period of time. I'll let him tell the story of his business to tell more about it. But first of all, Holden, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah, no, for sure. This was awesome. I'm glad to link up with you, but I've started this company, Coastal Cool, when I was 12 years old. It was my sixth grade year of middle school. It was right when COVID happened. So it was literally March of 2020. I remember we got the thing on the news for North Carolina that schools would be out for 5 weeks. And, all my friends were playing video games and they were going out and they were just having the time of their life doing kid things. And of course I was too. I was hanging out and doing normal things, but I wanted to do something different. I've always been kind of creative in the sense of thinking about new ideas, thinking about different things. I've always been fascinated with social media. I think I made my first social media account when I was like 7. Like it was just, there was all these different events leading up to me building this brand that kind of helped me lay the foundation, I'd say. And I started preparing these little t-shirt ideas. And it was just a simple base. We had kind of moved to our beach house during that time and spending time there. And I was like, let's come up with the t-shirt company. Let's start a t-shirt brand. So my mom came up with the name Coastal Cool. And I started printing off t-shirts and hoodies out of my bedroom with $500. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I love that story. And I got to remind myself as I talk to you, you're so mature. We've had a couple of conversations before this as well. And just what you've been able to accomplish is amazing. I've got a 16-year-old at home. He's just a year behind you. And man, it's impressive as I think about, man, you're at the same age. That's actually amazing for all the things you've been able to accomplish. And I'm sure will in the coming months and years as well. So let's talk about Coastal Cool a little bit more. You started when you were 12 years old. It started as t-shirts and hoodies. It's really morphed to more items now. What's your best-selling type of clothing now?
So now we're in swimwear. So there was kind of this time, and I think every entrepreneur has it. I bet you've had it. I mean, there's times where you're just like, oh, I hate this. And you almost feel like you're on that edge of like giving up. You're not seeing, and it wasn't really about for me seeing the growth and traction. I wasn't motivated to sell this product. It was simple t-shirts and hoodies. I was just like, you could get that anywhere. Anybody could print something. So we branched out into swimwear in the year of 2022. And I just redesigned our catalog. And I basically took this risk and I was like, hey, let's just rebrand ourselves and let's create something new and see how it does. Just like we started with the t-shirts and hoodies, why don't we start something new? So we launched our swimwear collection, and that was done with the collaboration of our manufacturing and print on demand. And I'll speak about that soon. But it was basically just coming up with some cool new swimwear designs. And that was between both men's swim trunks and women's bikinis, tops and bottoms. But the cool thing with Coastal Cool and our fabrics is everything's made from recycled plastic bottles. And then with our contract with Tidy, we're able to remove a pound of ocean plastic with every purchase, which equivalates to about 22 plastic bottles per order that we're able to remove. And this was all just done through a simple shift in kind of our mission as a brand and my vision as an entrepreneur, which was something I learned going on. So now we do swimwear and beachwear, and we've got some pretty cool products that feel good, look good, and do good.
So you talked about Tidy Ocean, one of your partnerships. You're involved with them as well. You're removing plastic from the ocean with every purchase. Is there a connection to on the plastics that you use in the manufacturing? So do you use some reclaimed or recycled in your manufacturing?
Yeah. So, and that's the cool thing. So our swimwear fabric, so we launched our swimwear line before we had even introduced our partnership with Tidy. I signed with Tidy last April, 2024. Yeah. About April, March-ish. That was when that contract started. So when we first rolled out our swimwear line at Coastal Cool, it was originally through our manufacturing, and it still is. And those fabrics are made from just recycled plastic bottles. Tidy has no involvement in that. Now on the charity and donation side of things and how we're actually doing the ocean plastic removal on terms of numbers and marketing purposes and everything, that's handled through Tidy. But there is a separation between our fabrics. Now, one day I would absolutely love to link the two together. But then that goes into custom fulfillment and custom manufacturing. And that's one thing I'll speak on. It's print on demand and what we do, and kind of that gap between the two. So
That's awesome. So let's talk about the print on demand piece, because that's, I think, an interesting business model for a lot of our listeners, whatever level they might be at. How is that? I guess maybe describe it first for those that don't know necessarily what it is. And then how does it help your business model?
Yeah. So print on demand is basically you can create any custom textile, any fabric you want, but it's basically the operation of you being able to sit back and relax and do the stuff that you enjoy. Let's say that's the marketing. Let's say that's the visual design stuff. And then having people who are good with fabrics and fashion industry actually hands-on printing the stuff. You not having to worry about having a warehouse, having inventory that might not sell, having to actually print it, the printing presses, keeping up with software, all that stuff. You're basically the background guy that's creating the product itself, creating the design of the product, but you're letting the manufacturing and the fulfillment of that product out of your hands. And you're handling more the marketing stuff. And this is the exact ecosystem that we've built at Coastal Cool. We have our online website through Shopify. You go on there. None of our products are real. They're real the moment you click add to cart and buy. And it basically sends a code into our warehouse. We have 2 warehouses, one in Los Angeles and one in Charlotte. And that's handled through our print on demand supplier. And basically the moment you buy a product, it sends a code in. It's taken, the fabric is taken as a blank, and it's printed that exact code that you order in, and it's shipped to you, packaged to you in 3 to 5 days. And this ecosystem has been not only sustainable for us in the product that we've created and that we've launched, but how we run as a business, right? How we're able to not have any inventory, not really many upfront costs, and be able to operate, market, spend our dollars on market, getting the product out to people, and not worrying so much on manufacturing and fulfillment. So it's a healthy option to start out, especially as a startup business, and especially being a teenager in the fashion industry. It was definitely the healthy way to go. So.
And let's talk about the comparison, because you mentioned before how you started with t-shirts and hoodies, and I think it was something, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but something to the effect of like, anybody can do that, right? There's a bunch of t-shirts, there's a bunch of hoodies, and your unique designs maybe go on the front, but how has it helped your business to go now? You're still doing print on demand, but you've got something a bit more unique. The product itself, right? The swimwear, you're not the only one selling through them, of course, but it's a little less common maybe than t-shirts and hoodies. Has that made a difference, I think, in your marketing and your approach?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much more you can do with swimwear, and we market. I mean, we just did a photo shoot with one of our top influencers, Brooklyn Riley. She's absolutely amazing. She's another teenager, but she's got aspiring aspirations and she wants to do cool things, and she works with some awesome, cool brands, and we're happy to have her on the team. And we did a photo shoot in a kitchen kind of home living space, and it was just showing the product, showing how versatile our fabrics feel, the comfort behind it. And that was one thing. Like a t-shirt, you could do that, but I'm all about quality. I'd say our pricing point is pretty affordable for swimwear compared to other top businesses, especially with us being in the sustainable market and selling and doing kind of giving back with every purchase. I think our products are priced at a fair point. And I think with that comes quality too. Our products are quality. They last. The print quality lasts. The fabrics feel good. They look good. And once again, like I said, they do good. So I think with that, having that switch between t-shirts to now swimwear, affordable swimwear, luxury swimwear, it changed the brand. And I think it changed the quality. And that was one thing I learned as an entrepreneur. Having a brand, having quality keeps customers coming. And the cool thing with Coastal Cool is we have the majority of our customers has been loyal customers that keep coming back and buying every summer. And that's really cool to see as a business owner. I'd much rather have, and I love getting new customers and building them into that loyal base. But seeing those customers year after year support the brand, support the mission, support what we're doing, buying new products when we release them, that's the cool part of Coastal Cool. So,
and along the way, you've had quite a bit of PR as well. You've been on some national segments, et cetera. I guess if you could share maybe an example or two and how that's helped your business.
Yeah, no, it's definitely helped our business a ton. I mean, whether from sharing my story as a young entrepreneur and reaching other young entrepreneurs to letting me to speak I spoke at UNCW, our local college here in North Carolina. I mean, I've been speaking at middle schools, my old schools. I've spoken at all my old schools, which I used to attend. I'm going around doing podcasts like this. I mean, the PR has definitely helped a lot. I joined our Chamber of Commerce last May. I was the youngest chamber member in our town's history, and I believe in the state of North Carolina, which led me to being on WRAL, our local news channel. And that came after the Forbes article. And there was just everything kind of happened at once. And I'm still kind of like debriefing from it because last summer was kind of hectic, whether from all the traveling to all the press that just kind of came all at once. I won Most Influential CEO of the State for modern fashion and swimwear. But the press has definitely helped a lot in kind of finding my space as an entrepreneur and finding my target market. And honestly, as press comes out every day about me and all the projects I'm working on, it teaches me kind of who am I marketing this product to and who's actually interested in it. And I see when the press is being released and who's sharing it, who's engaging with it, who's like, wow, this story is cool. That's my potential customer. And I've based a lot of my marketing off of that. So, and I'm very grateful for the editor, Megan Harris. She did my Forbes article. She's awesome. And we did some really cool stuff with that article back last April. And it's done tremendous. So.
And I hear that type of story a lot where you get one PR hit, right? In something that's well known like Forbes, et cetera. And it can lead to a lot of others, right? Because it gives other news writers, media reporters, whatever it might be, ideas, right? They're searching for things. And when they come across a cool and interesting story, whether, it's about being a young entrepreneur or whether it's about a really cool product you've developed or whatever it might be, having that first hit can be the hardest. And then it can get a lot easier over time as well. So we've talked a little bit about Tidy Ocean. You're involved with them, but you're also involved with a company called Slings Eyewear. Can you talk a little bit about that partnership and how you're helping them?
Yeah. So basically, one thing I've learned with Coastal Cool is we're still not profitable as a business yet. We're still growing. We're still kind of in that startup phase. I mean, we're doing tremendous on social media, but, I don't have any outside investors. I don't have any PE, private equity. I don't have anything to kind of build this incubator of a brand. I never had any of that. I started with $500 and that was to get an LLC. The rest I funded. So pretty much everything we make as a brand, we funnel right back through and we're letting it grow and flourish. Social media is doing great. But one thing I've learned is how to market a product, right? And that's something we've done really good at. How do I'm getting my bikinis and my swim trunks to customers? How do I get people seeing that? And that's been through influencer marketing. I built our entire Shopify website from scratch. I'm definitely on the creative side of things and the marketing. What makes you as a brand stand out as a brand and what gets people buying you as a brand. And that's one thing I really enjoy doing. So I've joined the team of Slings and basically helping them grow as a startup, e-commerce, direct to consumer, and now business to business company. How are we going to do things in terms of marketing? How are we getting our products to people? And how are we visually creating Slings as kind of this shape-shifting brand in the eyewear industry now in 2025? So basically, I'm taking my expertise from growing Coastal Cool from zero to now over 200,000 followers across social media platforms and 1 billion views. How am I going to use that and leverage these other companies that I'm coming on board with to help grow? And it's super cool. And I love working with products that are doing something good. We're about to get Tidy working with Slings too, and just getting all these brands connected, all these direct to consumer brands connected with an impact, connected with a mission, and just flourish through marketing and go crazy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And it's, I can only imagine what my listeners or my audience is thinking right now. The question probably in a lot of their minds is, how the heck do you do all this? And a reminder to our audience, you're still in high school, right? So you've got a little time left in high school before your next steps, which we'll talk about in a second. How do you get all this done and still be a full-time student?
I'll tell you, sometimes it's like today I was kind of like, well, and I'm on Christmas break. We've been out on break for 2 weeks now, and I'm dreading going back. Honestly, it's just like, I know what I'm passionate about. I know what I love doing, and it's hard. It's definitely hard managing school. It's just a lot dealing with still the high school life and dealing with, high school drama and dealing with, football games and still living like a 17-year-old, but my mind's not a 17-year-old, if that makes sense. And that's something I've kind of struggled with a lot, is just finding my group of people that know what I'm passionate about and understand. And it's hard because nobody's really understanding what I'm thinking about and what I'm wanting to do and the visions I have. But I found a good group. And, I know I just got to pass the time and kind of get past this chapter of high school. But it's definitely a lot to manage, from dealing up with grades to then dealing up with what company board meeting do I have a call for tonight? It's like, it's a lot, but I enjoy every minute of it. And I'm growing in both my education and my companies. So.
And as I mentioned, I'm very impressed with you and all that you've done, but also how you carry yourself. Very mature. You could be 30 for all I know, in the way you have conversations, and been doing this for a very long time. It's very impressive. So, interesting thing I guess, question on my mind is it the chicken or the egg, right? Do you think you are? As I, imagine you, we're going to talk about your next steps in a second. You're thinking about college, et cetera. We'll get into it in a little more detail. As you meet with college people, right, in the admissions process, you're going to stand out, right? You're very different from the average 17-year-old of trying to apply to colleges, et cetera, just in your maturity and what you've done and how you carry yourself. Do you think, I don't know if you can answer this, but do you think you are who you are today because this journey helped you, starting at running a business because when you were 12 years old, and it's kind of helped you become this better person for it? Or do you think you started with some special skill sets, a special ingenuity, I guess, at that age that then kind of carried you over? I don't know. Does that make sense? Like, question, like,
Yeah.
what do you think happened?
Oh, it's so hard because, I've always been like, I used to literally take the stuff that we had in our house and I'd create yard sales in my yard and I'd sell my family's stuff without them even knowing. And I'd set up these yard sales and these tables, and Forbes featured it. There's actually, on the Forbes article, there's a picture of me with my yard sale set up in our front yard with my parents' stuff that they had no idea that I took. Like, I think there was so much in my childhood that I knew that I was thinking, but I didn't really realize, hey, this isn't normal. Like, this is different. But then I do have to say, taking the risk and starting the brand 4 or 5 years ago now, and just taking that risk. I mean, so many people laughed at me. So many people thought I was crazy because it wasn't normal. I think it honestly shaped me into who I am today, and being able, like, if I didn't start this, I wouldn't be speaking to you right now. So I think everything happens for a reason. I mean, starting my business got me, I haven't really ever been into the sports kind of aspect of life. I played baseball. I got my second degree black belt in Taekwondo, but I never really clicked and never really enjoyed it. But starting the business was something I really enjoyed. And that got me into weightlifting and bodybuilding, and it got me into the gym, and it got my focus out. I would work all day long. I'd be like, okay, I'm going to the gym for an hour a day, clear my mind. And I've done that every day for the last 4 years. I've built my body up. I've built my mind up. I've built this business up. And I think all that kind of came from, yes, some childhood stuff, but I think definitely just originally taking that risk and doing something, because I've connected with so many amazing people from it. I've worked with so many amazing people, and I've created a name for myself. I didn't have a name before, and now I'm kind of tapping into different industries and doing something different, especially with the age and title that I have. So, and I'm very fortunate for that. And I'm very fortunate to have parents who supported me and gave me that initial funds and actually let me start this business. I mean, they facilitated me starting a business in their house, in my bedroom. I mean, I had very a supporting kind of group when I first started this. And my parents promoted my products to their friends, and they were the original customers, and they continue to buy to this day. So I definitely say the environment too helped me out a lot. So.
Absolutely. And we all need good members of our team, whether that, could be parents, it could be as you get older in life, it's a spouse, or, people around you, friends and family for sure are necessary. And they're part of the journey for sure. So I mentioned before, you're planning to go to college soon. And I imagine the question comes to mind, like, all right, I'm already down this journey of starting and running a successful business. Do I just keep going with that, or do I go to college? And I guess, how'd you finally make that decision to go to college?
Yeah. And honestly, I always knew I was going to go to college from the start. It's a lot of the parent push. And obviously I want to follow kind of in their footsteps and what they've done. And I have to admit, it's a different time of life. It's a different time of industries. Obviously, e-commerce wasn't even around in my parents' time back when they were this age. So there was not really kids doing what I'm doing, I'd say. And it's just a different time. It's a different environment. So I think I'm adapting to kind of both how they lived and kind of going off, obviously, because they're my parents, but also kind of forwarding the path for myself and understanding that, hey, this is a different time. I'm in a different situation than most people were, and most people are currently. So I'm kind of shaping this path as I go on. I know I definitely want to be somewhere tropical and warm. I definitely need a change in scenery. So I'm looking at some Florida schools, but the goal is to continue this brand. And because of the ecosystem that we have with the manufacturing, I can run this from anywhere. All I need is my laptop. And I'm very fortunate to have that. So I definitely think just keep growing the brand and growing the other brands that I work with and have partnership in, and just also growing as just a person, and scale, because I know how far I've come since starting this 5 years ago. And I know there's so much more for me to come as a human and then as companies. So I'm excited.
And along the way, obviously, you've got some raw horsepower and skill sets that are impressive. But we all get help from others, right? In some way or another, whether it's a book or whether it's a website or conference or people we know, et cetera. What's been, I guess, impactful or helpful to you in your journey?
Yeah, I think honestly, impactful is just I've always surrounded myself with successful people. I've always graduated more towards adults. I'd say connecting even with you. I mean, we had a great conversation that first call a few weeks ago. I've always just kind of clicked with adults better. I'm eager to learn. I wanted to learn about politics right away. I wanted to learn about just what's going on. I never really clicked with the average video games and the other stuff. I just needed a regular, I don't know, I just needed a different group. So I think graduating myself towards entrepreneurs and successful people in a widespread of industries has truly helped me. My best friend's dad, he's been very successful. And he was in video games and design art, and he kind of inspired me in a lot of the stuff I've done. My dad, he's in business. He's inspired me for a lot of the stuff I've done. And those are just all successful people in my life that have kind of pushed me to take a step, do something outside the box and be myself and then grow along the way. So I definitely think it's like we said before, it's in your environment. That definitely helps. So.
Absolutely. It's whatever age we're at, right? Whether we're 17 or 65, having connections, having people around us to join us in the journey or give us advice.
Yeah.
It can be so important, so impactful. Well, this has been an awesome interview. A lot of fun to catch up with you again. Is there anything I didn't ask that you think could be helpful for our audience?
Honestly, if I don't know what your audience kind of their age group, but if you got any young entrepreneurs on there, my biggest advice is while you got the time and you're not stuck in a 9-to-5 job yet, and you're not locked in, take a risk, try something out, start an idea, trust your heart. If you think, oh, let me sell some bracelets on the side, do it. Why not? Find the hustle and find what you enjoy in that hustle. And the rest of the path will take you along the way. That's happened to me. I never thought, I go around town and I'll go into local stores and they're like, oh, you're the t-shirt guy. And I'm like, I never thought I would be referred to that from just the simple idea when I started, but took the risk. I continued it and I followed my heart and my passion and I did some good along the way. So.
Love it. Love it. Well, I can tell, I'm sure our listeners and viewers can tell you're going to be a massive success in whatever you do as you continue your journey, and you got a long ways to go. You can do a lot more as you're starting out so young. So it's really exciting. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I do encourage our audience, please go check out coastalcool.co if you're driving. As always, it's in the show notes. You can check it out, learn more about Holden and his business. Also, did you know you can meet with a member of my team absolutely free for a 30-minute strategy consultation? We've launched and grown hundreds of products since 2007. Learn some of our strategies while growing OxyClean back in the Billy Mays days. We're here to help, so please go to harvestgrowth.com and set up a call if you'd like to discuss further.